The 90s were awash in films, with commentary on the lack of fulfillment and feeling of suffocation human beings can experience when crammed in tiny office cubicles for the majority of their work life. From Office Space's comedic approach to being John Malkovich's satirical take, every film seemed to have something to say on the matter in a decade where the booming economy was giving the average American worker a sense of stability they thought they wanted until experiencing the lack of excitement that came with it. So you can almost forgive critics for missing the brilliance of a film released at the tail end of this time frame, as surface-level observation likely resulted in the conclusion that this was just another film on the matter. But the truth is that while 1999's Fight Club was built on this general theme, it had much more meat on its bones than the typical skeletal takes of bored office worker finds meaning elsewhere. The aforementioned cubicle dweller and protagonist of this film goes unnamed on this go-round, referred to as simply the narrator, a man who's decided stomping out office equipment isn't nearly a proper level of relief in his world, and has begun attending group meetings for diseases and illnesses he doesn't even have. It's a sick way to spend your time, but that's just it. Our Edward Norton playing narrator is sick, and the writer isn't afraid to show us. But he soon finds he isn't alone, either physically or in his depraved hobbies, as he's soon confronted and called out by the enchantingly dark Marla, who has seen right through his intentions and called him out not in disgust, but in an attempt to reduce competition, as she too attends the groups as a form of, at least someone out there has it worse than me, people watching therapy. They agree to split groups to help their cover, but this of course only lasts so long as a relationship begins to form between them. But it is not Marla who will be the spark to change the narrator's world. Instead, it is Brad Pitt's Tyler Durden, a soap salesman that bumps into him via a chance meeting due to a seating arrangement on a plane, and eventually introduces him to a much more hands-on form of cathartic release, fighting. Fight Club is of course largely centered on fighting. In the release it provides its growing ranks of men from all walks of life as they rediscover their inner lizard brain through its weekly bloody meetings. But it also addresses so much more, and it's honestly surprising to see most didn't get that until its later DVD release, which solidified it as a cult classic, with the New York Times labeling it the defining cult movie of our time. As our characters break bones and snap joints, their obsession with the discovery of a new way of life grows until we eventually start tackling everything from mental illness to consumer culture to domestic terrorism. To go any further into detail would begin to ruin the plot of a movie that deserves to unfold what it has to say to you in the way it intended to. But just know that the original critics were way off, and the film went on to achieve such cultural relevance for very good reasons. If men in dark clubs beating each other bloody is a little too gruesome for your tastes, Brad Pitt's washboard abs always seem to be around those scenes to let you know it's all going to be okay. But on a serious note, the movie is brilliant, and if you haven't watched it yet, correct that mistake. I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel and leaving feedback, as the growth and interaction is the only indication I have that you guys are enjoying the content I put out. So I hope you'll consider helping out the channel. I'm Jason Hebert, and I'll see you next time.